My name is Harry, and I'm from London.
Meghan Markle here.
Today is November 3rd, 2024. It is 2:41 a.m. I thought today was gonna be daytime saving. I don't know. When does the time change? I used to think it's around 12. Let me check for something. I should have checked before I started. Yeah, it's supposed today. I thought did it change already? Maybe it did. Maybe it did. I don't know. All right. For some reason, I felt like it didn't, but I guess it did already, because things are done automatically now. Okay, so it's 2:42 a.m. All right, so there's a lot to go. All right, it seems like my subscription grew. 4,456 views in the last 48 hours. Estimate revenue $118.38. Feel free to skip whoever is new. Whenever I'm doing this, is just a record for myself, because my subscription is growing, my views are going down, my estimate is going down, so something is not right. I don't think my analytics is growing naturally, okay? Because if my subscription is growing, how come my views are low and my revenue remain low? Because a lot of YouTubers who talk about similar topics as mine, especially with Harry and Meghan, they're going through almost the same thing. I don't have time to watch some of them, but when I do watch their channel. They don't do things like this where I show my background or anything like that. But some people who made comment on my comment section usually tells me similar things are going to people who talks about Harry and Meghan's channel. So I decided, because I don't remember everything, it's just to record the background of the channel for record purposes. Okay, so these are the numbers. Last 48 hours, 531 views. Okay, what we will be talking about, there will be 2 videos today. I don't know when I'm gonna edit them, but there will be 2. So the first one, which is this one I'm talking, and it will be a little bit of US politics, because we are 2 days away from the election. Okay, and then the second part will be about the royal family, some couple things. So I might add some more things to it later on, but these are all links that I have, so I don't know there's new one that came up. So yesterday I was sort of in a family gathering, so we're gonna focus a little bit of election, because it seems like there's a blueprint that those people have. The MAGAs, the Republican, the Tories, and the UK. It seems like they have a blueprint. It probably worked well for the UK. That blueprint probably works well in the UK. So they try to bring the same thing over here. They got away with it in 2016. So now people are aware what's going on. So we prepare for it. We said, no, it's not going to happen. So Trump wanted to take that to the next level. He got away with it in 2016. He thought he had it in 2020, and they fight tooth and nail in the US. For people who's not in the US, you do not know how much struggle that is going on in the US between the media, the Republicans. They pretty much bend heads together to keep Americans in the dark. So what's good about it this time? You have me, for instance. I talk about what I can, what I'm aware of, what I can see, what I feel comfortable to share with you. But there are other regular Americans who, lawyers, you have young people who pretty much wants to save democracy and have better way of communicating with people to show the truth. They do their part. And you also have, this is the thing here, some who are brain dead, who just there for the views and money only. Those people are hired by, I don't know, the Trump people, the Trump type of people. I don't know if it's Trump directly, but those who wants to influence, who have a better, what will I say that? How will I say that? Who have beneficial on a Trump Republican type of winning the race, the White House, the election. So what they do, they hire people, young influencers who don't know they're doing these things for their, not for their best interests. They hire them to influence young people. And if you guys been listening to me for a very long time, I told you guys that. I've been saying it, but now it's become more inevitable. They're hiring young influencers to influence other people. Young people, you know, who another brain dead, who be watching their nonsense, you know, spew their lies. So it's not working. So what's really working is the fact that many people are aware mainstream media have been in the dark. They have bought them. They have framed them. This is what I think happened. They framed them. They must have done something really ridiculous. They framed them. So if they don't keep their mouth shut, don't highlight certain things, otherwise they're going to expose their BS. Or maybe just because they, I don't know, they feel like they will benefit from it. Even though, with what I mean benefit from it, from a Trump presidency, removing regular citizens' human rights, freedom to speak, freedom of religion, freedom of everything. So for them to put the stupidity type of, I don't know, Sharia type of law, all right, the Islamic version of theirs in the US. So people who enjoy their freedom said no. Even if we are a Republican, the Trump type of group, some of them said no. They see the light. At the beginning, when I started highlighting certain things, I would throw prayers and for foot soldiers, for let the blind see, and all of that. Thank God they are being worked. I'm seeing them working. And this is what I said. The gods that these people are praying for, the Trump type of people who's praying for their God, I was like, I don't recognize it. It's not the same God that I'm aware of. Because everything that I pray for, I always find the result of it. It may not be hard, it may not be easy, but you have to work for it. God does not want you to just pray for them and then you sit back and let him do the work. You have to want it. Okay, so there are other people who are seeing the light, and many people are doing their part. All right, we're not there yet. We are 2 days away, so people still need to go out and vote. Midterm election, people need to go out and vote, because these same people, they're not gonna give up just because they lose an election. They need to work on it, and this is why this election is very important, because if these people get into power, they're gonna strip it. Trump already told us. It's not like we don't know. He already told us this will be the last time you vote. In a democracy, what do you mean by that? This is the last time you vote. That's because if he gets in power, he will make sure to destroy anything that will give you the power to be participating in a governmental system. We are the government. We need to work on it to make it work. So he wants to remove that and enrich himself, make him the dictator of America and all of that. And then we know he has his people who's ready to do the work for him. This is the sad part, because we've seen models of this type of government. People flying off of the windows for, they didn't do it themselves. But when you disagree with them, next thing you know, people flow off the window. You don't see them anymore. His competition, you will not see them anymore. He will be friend with you if you agree with them. But once he's tired of you, he discard you. So I really don't understand. It's not like we don't see these before. We've seen them before. All right, so this is my intro. So for those who are new, when I share those background, that's for record purposes because my channel is being suppressed. I am fully aware. Many times when I say certain things in my video, next thing I know, it's fixed. I could make complaint if they don't fix it. But once I make a video about the things that I'm complaining about, it's done. On PYTE, another channel that I have, PYT Entertainment Team Sussex, that's the name of the channel. I highlight something that when I put on my community board, when I put a link, all right, the link will work well where you will click on it, it will take you straight to the link. But on our part of Pure Service, that's another channel that I have. This is the purest channel that I have. I don't talk about politics. I don't talk about anything, the royal family. Maybe I will something, I don't know. I don't remember everything that I said. Maybe I will say something slightly. But other than that, it's truly focused on Harry and Meghan's work only. That's it. YouTube decided to demonetize it. That channel, when I put a link on my community board, when I'm sharing things that Harry and Meghan are doing, and there's a link that they share that you could go and explore it yourself more instead of me talking or typing or whatever, I'll put the link for you to check for yourself. That link, at one point, when I put any link on that particular channel, they give me the runaround, and then when you, as the viewer, will like to click on it, you will have to copy the link. You have to do an extra step. Copy the link and then paste it on the address area. Okay? It will not give you the, you know, while you're there, you just click. It gives you an extra step. I highlight this, and then it shows where if I want the link to be viewed or something, there's a extra step that I have to do. I always ignore it. And I was like, in my mind, if the person who's reading it are interested, they will do what needs to be done to copy it and then paste it. I highlight this particular problem, the difference between PYTE channel and the output of Pure Service channel. Next thing I know, the last time I put a link, I didn't have this issue. So they're watching my videos like a hawk. Okay? So my channel's like a hawk. So whatever. That's that. Let's go to the first tweet. I have about 11 tweets to share with you. This one, I just happened to see it when I turn on my computer and I put it first. Because I didn't plan on talking about anything in the UK. But this one happened because I saw Piers Morgan in it. Because what I feel like that happened, there's Piers Morgan in the middle. What I feel like what happened with the US, the UK send their version tactic. When you see in the UK, you see everything in terms of the media turn into entertainment. And the next tweet, which I originally had first, was the one I was going to share with you. I will discuss this a little bit further. They bring their version of media into the US. You have, I've highlighted them before, Washington Post. You have Will Lewis, a Murdoch Slacky cleanup guy who happened to be, what's his title? Is it CEO or something? Or what do you call this? Editor-in-chief or something? I don't know his position, but he's right up there. Who make top decision. Okay? We already knew. I knew about it. So what happened this year? Washington Post. Let me pause to look for what I'm going to pause to look for what I'm saying here. Washington Post, who usually, backed a candidate. Okay, whether it's Trump or Kamala. This time, they didn't do a damn thing. They didn't support anybody, so influence anybody. But we already knew who's they supporting. But they don't want to say it. Let me go look to see what I've said is correct, because from my understanding, Washington Post, which is backed by Will Lewis, or who has a job there as the top guy, did not back anybody, because Washington Post is one. Usually, any newspapers usually back somebody. But this year, none. Okay, so this is what I would. Couple things here. Okay, what is Will Lewis' position at Washington Post? Will Lewis is the publisher and CEO of the Washington Post. This is something, okay, there's a background here. Background: Will Lewis is a British media executive who was previously the CEO of Dow Jones and Company and publisher of the Wall Street Journal. He started his career as a journalist and editor. Okay, so this is what we need to know. Will Lewis came from the UK, and he also is in the he's not being sued, but he is what's his name, Murdoch, who, go back in some of my videos, who pretty much destroy evidence for Murdoch and some lawsuits that's coming up, whatever. Okay, so that's that we need to know about Washington Post and Will Lewis. Now, the next thing that I ask is, did Washington Post endorse a candidate for president of 2024? All right, there it is here. The Washington Post will not endorse a candidate for, I guess, presidency. Okay, Washington Post publisher announced Friday that it will not make an endorsement in this year's presidential contest. All right, so we already know they've been hijacked. They pretty much copying the system of the UK to bring it over here. Okay, so, and prior to other videos, I've discussed the issues that's going on within Washington Post. So this is not new. My viewers should not be shocked by this news. Okay, so back to this, to give you a background why they are into American politics. Let's not forget as well, during the RNC, okay, Republican National Committee, when they do that thing, who did the who came up in that particular thing? You have former Prime Minister Bojo, okay, Boris Johnson, former Prime Minister Liz Truss, I believe her last name is Liz, and you have, there was a third. How many of them came? I think 3 or 4. The other one who helped cause the riot, what's his name? Oh my God, let me just show you the picture. Just look at the screen, okay? So they came to influence over here. They are banking on a Trump presidency so their BS could continue. If you go way back further, after 2020 election, couple things that I've said, or it could have been before that, where I said, one of the reasons I felt that the UK removed, now it's much clearer, but I think it's part of the issues. The UK removed itself from the EU because they felt like, I felt like them and the US were trying to create their own system of market system. Okay, so they could compete with the EU, because if the EU remain strong, because Putin does not like the European Union. So the UK remove itself. The UK is already in the dumpster of stuff in terms of moral. Okay, unfortunately, I don't want to put all the Brits into that, because there are some who's fighting, but their voice are very low because they don't have the mainstream media to speak for them. But the system over there is already corrupt, so they want to bring that corruption over here, and we saw it. It's starting already. And then the reason, again, back to why they removed themselves from the EU, is to group with the US. That was one of the things I said a long time ago, to create their own system to compete with the EU. When you look at when Trump was in was presidency, removing the US and many part of agreement, alliances with the EU and all of that. Okay, so they were banking on that. But come 2020, we said no. And then if he gets back in it, it's gonna go right back again in full force, and then the UK will be in a good standing position with the US. Okay, unfortunately, not everybody wants that. With the US, to create their own system to or give the middle finger to the EU. But that, hopefully, that doesn't work. What else was I gonna say about that? But let's get to this, okay? I took 18 minutes, almost half of the video. I want to do about an hour. Maybe this will be part 1 and part 2. So let's get to this here. Who's this? Tim Miller. Okay, This is not people that I follow, but it popped up on my timeline, so I felt like I should share it. At Tim, what did he say again? Tim Miller. Okay, at Tim Miller said the record straight, quote, the left isn't calling Donald Trump a fascist. It's John Kelly, a conservative American hero that Donald Trump hired twice, that's saying this about him. All right, so let's listen. A minute and screenshot. This will be the screenshot of the video.
Why is the left calling Donald Trump a fascist? The left isn't calling Donald Trump a fascist. John Kelly, who Donald Trump made the head of his Department of Homeland Security, who oversaw the Muslim ban 1.0, and then Donald Trump promoted him to chief of staff. And then he was his longest serving chief of staff. He wasn't a never-Trumper like me. He wasn't a moderate Republican rhino. He's a down-the-line conservative American hero that Donald Trump hired twice, who says he is concerned that Donald Trump has fascist tendencies. And there were times during the first administration where Donald Trump wanted to do things against the law, and it required him and Mattis and Milley and others to prevent him from doing it. And he's worried that those guardrails won't be around the next term. So it's not the left, it's not MSNBC, it's not wild-eyed liberals. It's John Kelly, a conservative American hero that Donald Trump hired twice, that is saying that about him. And you guys need to reckon with that rather than just pointing fingers.
Okay, so there's that. What look at his face. So I don't want to go too much into, yeah, there's audio. I think this was the first time he ever, that John Kelly he's talking about, put it on record. You hear his voice saying it. Many times people interview him, he never do it in audio version. But this time you hear his voice saying it. Let me see if I could find it to share it with you. Okay, so this is the guy that they're talking about, John Kelly here. All right, let me see.
He commented more than once that, that Hitler did some good things too. And of course, if you know history, again, I think he's lacking in that. But if you know what Hitler was all about, it'd be pretty hard to make an argument that he did anything good.
So what would you say when he said to you that Hitler did a lot of good things?
Well, I tell him that. I said, sir, first of all, you should never say that. But if you knew what Hitler was all about from the beginning to the end, everything he did was in support of his racist, fascist,
there it is,
life, philosophy, so that nothing he did you could argue was good. It was certainly not done for the right reason. And but he would occasionally say that.
What would he say when you would lay that out to him?
He just, that'd be the end of the conversation usually.
Okay, so there he is saying that, he's a fascist. That was this one I was gonna play up here. Then it started like right here, sort of. 10 seconds of it was just typing.
Do you think he's a fascist?
Well, he certainly falls into the general definition of a fascist. It's a far-right, authoritarian, ultra-nationalist political ideology and movement characterized by a dictatorial leader. The former president, certainly an authoritarian, using the military to go after citizens is a very, very bad thing. He admires people who are dictators. He commented more than once that Hitler did some good things too.
If he was left to his own devices, would he be a dictator if he didn't have people around him?
Oh, I think he'd love to be.
When somebody's the president, the authority is total.
He's so stupid as well. He's not the president. He's saying all of this, and then who's the president now? So which means if they decide...
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
If, the Republican are cheating on those issues, voting for it and all of that, and don't want to certify the election and all of that, who's the president? And then the Supreme Court have given him that power. Okay? Trump asked for it while he's not president, and the Supreme Court give it to him. Then our last God will to whatever, if the election goes to the Supreme Court, we already know which way they're gonna vote. Okay? Forget about the voice of the people, which is the election, because from what I've heard, in 2000, the one that the Supreme Court gave the winning election to was not the winner from the from how do you call this, from Florida. because that's where the issue was with counting the ballot. And then you had his brother at that time, who was the governor of Florida. So this was rigged. And then from then, we've been going downhill. Okay, so our last guardrail was some of the people he hired, to prevent him from going against the will of the people and the rule of law. Whatever. Let me grab these links, put it on my list. That way you guys go have it, because these are the things that I usually put in the description box. Okay, so let's go to the next tweet that I have, which was supposed to be my first tweet on my list. Okay, so let's pause this. Okay, oligarchs are now shaping our news in the darkest hour for disinformation, but there's hope. When media silence protects power, we break it. We're independently funded, answerable to our readers, not billionaires. Real journalism outside the system, bringing truth to light. Join the movement. Let's double our impact one reader at a time. Find one more subscriber for ByLine Time. Help us build the better media Britain deserves. Okay, so we need to give ByLine some credit, because they are a needle in haystack in the UK. Alright, so I'm gonna play this video. It's almost 2 minutes, but there will be screenshot, unfortunately. This is me, and I shared this with you guys on my community board, where I tag Midas Network, which is one of the YouTubers who popped up. I don't know when they started, but I came across them while looking for answers for things, because I knew I wasn't gonna get the information that I need from the media. So they are a group of lawyers, professionals, and people who's giving information to help, shed light to democracy. So they usually highlight what's going on in the court with Trump and things like that. So this is them who I tagged and said they should get in touch with let me just read my tweet. Okay, at Midas Network, you should get in touch with this group in the UK. The BS that we're seeing in the US is carbon copy of UK journalism, drama, entertainment. Where is my link? Very interesting. I had put the link of Bojo's sister. It's not there. Wow. Okay, here's former Prime Minister Bojo's sister talking about how the US and French journalism are not entertaining enough like the UK. Donald J. Trump is doing that. I had put the link. I did put the link. Let me go search for it and insert it. Okay, so there's me here saying, I can't believe this. I did put the link of Bojo's sister, and the original post, it's gone. Here it is again. There it is here. Okay, so there it is here. That's her saying how the U.S. and French type of journalism is not entertaining anymore. Or not anymore, was never entertaining. So they want that to be entertaining. And then Trump is doing just that. All right, so they remove it. I had it. So I put it back again. And then the main reason that I wanted to share that, there's 2 likes that I have here, and I share with you on my notification. It was ByLine. One is the ByLine Time, and how do you call this? A reporter from a journalist of ByLine who liked it. Okay, so let's listen to the video. I'm sorry, there will be a screenshot. Just pay attention to the audio. Okay, it's 1 minute and 56 seconds.
Oligarchs shape our media. In America, the billionaire oligarch proprietors of the LA Times and the Washington Post intervened to stop those newspapers endorsing the Democrat candidate, Kamala Harris.
Like I was just saying at the beginning, I didn't even listen to it. Okay, usually when I see things like that, okay, I just read the caption and I was like, that's something for me to share with you. And look at this, I said pretty much what they're saying now in my original, at the beginning of this video. But let's continue.
In the UK, Keir Starmer visited Murdoch's HQ to talk about protecting press freedom.
Far from acting as a watchdog, the British oligarch press has all too often chosen silence over scrutiny, choosing to protect power rather than challenge it.
instead of holding up a mirror to the nation to show us who we really are.
The established press is part of the problem rather than being part of any sort of solution.
Exactly.
Independently funded by our readers, ByLine Times is part of the solution because we are outside of the system.
That's
We
right.
report on the oligarchs. We're not answerable to them. Independently funded by our readers, ByLine Times is a solution. Yeah.
But what I think with the US, because I think, okay, this is not a fact, but this is my assumption. They blackmail many Americans. When you look, I've been saying this, when you look at the Maxwell thing, the Epstein, there's the black book that I keep on mentioning, okay, they don't release the names because they were holding these names for a reason, to blackmail them. So that way they could make them do what they want. They must have done something really, really bad that is against our own values, that is illegal. Probably they probably did some stuff with kids. I don't know, allegedly, because that's what the Epstein and the Maxwell were all about. So they probably caught them, recorded them, and make sure that they get them in tape. That way, so they could get this to blind the people, to hold them accountable to do their bidding. So that's what's happening here. And then you have the thing, I've said they try to normalize this type of behavior, doing things, from what I've heard, yesterday, Saturday, Trump was doing something with the microphone. You know, this type of things should not be in a politician's mouth. So they're trying to normalize this type of behaviors. Okay? So that's one thing. They have something against them. So it's almost like put them, tie their hand behind their back. One thing I remember, I might have shared it in one of my videos. I don't know if it's this channel or PYTE, where Jeff Bezos was going outing with Hollywood people and whatever. The woman that usually next to him was trying to get all cozy with Leonardo DiCaprio. And then I felt, at first, I thought Jeff Bezos was somewhat respectable. But now that I don't know him personally, but the facade, that kind of respect that I thought he had, forget it. But the thing is that the woman he always have next to him was trying to cozy up with Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't know what they say, but what was caught on camera was very disrespectful. Because, not disrespectful, well, it depends on how you see it. Because you come in at a party with someone, how the hell are you gonna get all cozy up with another person right next to the person you came in with? So this was dirty to me in the first place. But what Leonardo DiCaprio did, I don't know what he said or what happened, but I saw him pointing his finger at her saying something. And then Bezos just stood there standing straight, like he doesn't see what's going on. Okay, so they're trying to get those high profile people into something. I don't know what it is. So they could be, to hold something against them. So what is it? The Epstein people, the Maxwell, all the stuff that they were doing were for this moment. Okay? Let's continue.
Outside the system.
5 years on, we're in the newsstands, but we want to do so much more and bring ByLine Times to so many more of you. So we have a simple ask. We can double our impact if you can help us find one more subscriber to ByLine Times.
Build better media that Britain deserves with one more subscription to ByLine Times.
This isn't just a subscription. This is a movement for change. So buy a real paper and help us build the better media that Britain deserves with one more subscriber to ByLine Times.
There's a music, so you might hear a little bit kind of noise in the back. I don't know. I have to manipulate the music. All right, so that's me who tagged Midas Touch to get in touch with them because they're the only one who sort of, for now, okay? I'm going to have to say for now, who's somewhat telling the truth. If they sell it to another group, forget it. They're gonna go right back to the lineup, keep people in the dark. You know, turn it into entertainment kind of thing instead of telling people the real news. Okay, so that's that. Oh my God, there's gonna be two part of this because I'm not even. There's so much more to share with you. Next tweet. Oh, I did put it. That's the thing. What he was doing with the microphone. I didn't listen to it, but so I did put it here. All right. So let's see here. How low have we come as a country that a candidate for the United States of America is on stage practicing giving head? What a sick F guy. I'm quite sure he made some of you men proud with this one. Please. Okay, 14 seconds. Listen. Oh my God. This is ridiculous. This is freaking crazy. Alright, so this is me here putting that. This is what Prince Harry ran away from and has been warning us about. He is former Prime Minister of the UK sister spoke about. Okay, I've shared this. This is 2 minutes. You know what? For those who probably stumble on this channel for the first time, let me play it for you. But just know there will be a screenshot. Let me go into it. It will be bigger. Listen.
Winner. I find it hard to see who is the winner here. I mean, Prince Harry goading the press is only and forcing the press into humiliating payouts is not going to be particularly good for the Sussexes. And it's certainly not great for the press, which is on the hook. I think the total payouts for phone hacking and other illegal information gathering is up to $1 billion, and there are many, many more cases to try. So my point about all this is, I think we only have losers here, and it's in all our interests that we have a strong, vigorous, and honest press. And if it was strong, vigorous, and honest, I agree that the press would have reported more on the judgment, the Prince Harry judgment that came through on Friday, than it did. It was basically a broadcast story, far more than it was a print story. And of course, the print and broadcast are in competition, so you can sort of understand that. So my question is, who wins out of this? Has Prince Harry done the press lasting damage? Do you think that as a result of the judgment that went against Mirror Group newspapers, we're going to see some sort of state regulation of the press? I genuinely hope not. I don't want the press to be in the last chance saloon at all. I want to see newspapers thrive. This is my industry, and I think it's in all our interests that we have a thrive. And we've got the most wonderful newspapers in the world in this country. You read the newspapers in the States or in France. They're very dull. They're not entertaining at all. I think that we can have both a serious and an entertaining press. And that's what I want to see survive. I don't want to see Prince Harry destroy the industry I love.
Okay, so they want to turn journalism into entertainment, drama, nonsense. You see the nonsense that Trump was doing. And I think there was a video that I saw from CNN where they're saying they like Trump because he give them views and all of that. We are part of the problem. If we keep on watching those nonsense, they wanna still showing those nonsense. Okay, so I picked them out a long time ago when I saw there was nothing interesting, very few channels to watch. Then I cut my cable. All right, so let's go to the next tweet. So I shared this because some of you may stumble on my channel for the first time, and if I make reference to it, you will not know what I'm talking about. So this is the video. All right, next tweet. All right. I literally put my retweet here so that way I could just focus on my tweet only. All right, so I retweeted this. At the end of the day, everything they were spewing about other groups were pretty much themselves. They were talking about themselves. OMG, this is beyond stupid. Okay, so this is the tweet here. Let's go into it so it could be bigger. I'm not gonna go to the comments. Okay. First, MAGA started wearing diapers, then they wore tampons on their ears, and now they're dressing like garbage. No wonder these effing dip are the laughing stock of the entire world. Okay, look at them. This is freaking ridiculous. Ridiculous.
We won with highly educated. We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated.
What the hell? And they're not embarrassed. Well, then again, this is what they do. They do clown shit to keep their money. And we're not there yet, but it seems like they almost got away with it. Okay, tampon in there. That's freaking ridiculous. And now they're wearing garbage. Oh my God. Oh my God. The poorly educated. But not all of them are poorly educated. Okay, let me read this one. Okay, Canada is a dumpster fire, and I'm going to assume you are busy voting for Trudeau, USA sneeze, Canada get a cold. You should be praying for a Trump win. No, hell no. That deserve a black. So if I decided to read something else from those MAGAs, I don't come across that. All right, next tweet. And the other thing, when I was looking into the Harry and Meghan thing, and come to find out that there's the 5I. You have the US, the UK, Canada, Australia, and I believe New Zealand is part of the 5Is. When they have information in terms of, to share information for security reason purposes, so they could share it with each other. So if this is under the grip of Trump, and the royal family is already selling those information anyway, in my humble opinion. Otherwise, why would you get a case full of money? What did you do to get it? People don't give money for no reason. Okay, are you selling those information? And there's so many little things that happen. You could see the UK is not honest, and we already seen a Trump presidency where pretty much selling information. There's one, for instance, in Florida that has to do with him taking classified information. Okay? And the judge, we already know if the US, if Kamala win and we somewhat get back in straight line and somewhat a normalcy of rule and order, a country with rule and order, this judge toss out Trump's case. This judge needs to be removed. Alright, so this is the next tweet. That's that house, the N-word mentality. Fat Joe calls out Puerto Ricans who act white and reacts to jokes comedian Tony Hinchcliffe made about black people and Puerto Ricans at Donald Trump's New York City rally. Okay, so let's listen to this. It's 2 minutes and 37 seconds. I recently spoke about him, where he has a kid who has some development issues. I don't know the real issue. I don't know if I mentioned it in the first video, where I guess the baby mama did not want to raise the kid. She wanted to put the child into adoption, and Fat Joe's family and himself step up and said no. They took care of the child. Okay, so he's a good guy in perspective, but personally I do not know. But for standing up when the child needed him, he did what he needs to do as a father. So that's a big plus for me. Alright, so this is a different angle of things now. It's 2 minutes and 37 seconds. Screenshots, okay?
It breaks my heart when I see people talk about, and I tell you, if any one of you guys got Puerto Rican friends, when you go over there and you go visit, the first thing they tell you is, my island, my island. Yo, you went to my island? You enjoy they tell me that. Like I'm not from Puerto Rico. They be like, my island, you was there. I see the picture, my island. How the heck?
I used to think he was Puerto Rican. Maybe he is either, I don't know. I could look it up. What is it? Cuban or maybe Dominican? I don't know. But let's continue. But for real, I used to think he is Puerto Rican though.
Hell, are they going to call Puerto Rico an island of garbage? Yes. And when I post on my Instagram, these the guys you voting for, and I see Puerto Ricans saying, no, we're still for Trump. 2024. That's the house mentality. Yeah. Yeah. You know, that's the Latino that wish he was white. Right. Those the guys in the comments. You know what I mean? Change their voice up, try to sound white, try to fill in. Those the guys. Those are guys I've been fighting my whole life. Because they look at me like, what I am. He from the mud, and he don't care because Fat Joe really don't care. I'm good with steak and lobster, but I'm good with 4 chicken wing fried rice. I don't give a. You could take mine, and I'm still here. I'm good in any hood. That's how I feel.
You know, about a week ago, Tavis Smiley, the journalist, had a program in which he said, "We're getting closer to the election. Something crazy always happens in October." How long is it going to be before somebody from that camp uses the N-word? And this was basically the equivalent.
No, this was the. All right, so I'm smart, but maybe not that smart, right? So I try to figure out what would make these people do this in the middle of New York City. I don't know how they ain't get up in Madison Square Garden.
Real.
What's that MSNBC, one of the hosts, what's his name? I'll put his picture, but right now I can't think of his name. And I mentioned him several times on my channel. He highlight that part with the MAGA thing in Madison Square Garden, where he said that they're trashing the city, but to get to Madison Square Garden, most likely many of these people had to take the subway. And he showed a picture when he was getting to work. Some of the Yankee people, fans, were going to a Yankee game. These are millionaires because the World Series tickets are not that cheap. So they taking the subway to get to the Bronx to go watch the game. But there's Trump over there at Madison Square Garden trashing the city, how bad it is, and violent and all of that. Meanwhile, people just minding their own business, trying to make ends meet. You know, he didn't say it like that, but, you know, this is the country where we live in, where you could say these things, but he wants to take those rights away from people. But let's continue. O'Donnell, that's it. That's his name. O'Donnell, okay? That's his name. I forgot when I was mentioning it.
I know these people are very diabolical and very smart. And there's no way they had a whole rally of just hate. He's like, oh, I see the black guy over there. He's carving watermelon right now. Like, and they're using Nazi quotes.
Right.
But I'm trying to figure out, like, my Rubik's Cube is like, yo, but what do they think they're getting out of this, right? Like, what's the flip side of what they're doing? Because I don't get it.
Well, all I could say here is that they're shedding light for people who were not seeing. So they felt comfortable. Their bases, which is the media, okay, will not be talking about it. If it wasn't for social media, people like Midas Touch, and when I come across it, I will share it or something like that. But I didn't even bother watching his thing anyway. All right, so let's go to the next tweet. Okay, so there's this quote here. It resonates to me. Okay, I saw this on X Twitter earlier and made it my banner. It's so spot on. It shouldn't have to happen to you for it to matter to you. Did I put my comment? No. Let me look for my comment on this. So there's my comment here, my response to it. Okay, I understand this quote very well. I just don't understand how other groups or people in general can seem to understand when someone else is facing any kind of pain, mental, physical, etc. If they can do it to one, they definitely can do it to you too. Alright, so I think the mindset that came to me when I saw this, we're seeing when Trump was in office, you see kids in cage and all of that. And I'm like, Trump really demonstrate everything for everybody to see it. But many people don't care because it's not them or it's not their group that's going to it. The same thing with what they say about Puerto Rico. Many Puerto Ricans are awakening when they realize Trump is treating them like garbage. So that's when they decided, oh my God, I'm not going to vote for Trump. And they create that noise all of a sudden. He never seen you as one of them. Especially with the accent. If you, many Hispanic, when they speak, you could hear the accent that they are Hispanic. Or myself, you could hear the accent. Okay, so if you're not them, they don't want you. Okay, if you're not from Europe or something like that, they don't want you. All right, so let's go to the next tweet. So I don't know why it until it hit them, that's when they realize, oh my God, I need to. That should have opened your eyes a long time ago. All right, when we see those, South Americans. Then all of them are not Mexican coming from the southern border. They're coming from different part of like Venezuela, because I spoke about it in one of my video where that president, I think there's issues with him winning the election, but sending the migrant up north to give Trump something to run about. Okay, so all of them are not Mexican. So when you see dividing families and all of that, that should matter to you. Because we are human. Because if they could easily, without even thinking twice, to do that to a living human being, what makes you think they're not going to do that to you? So this type of things should matter. When people are saying, for kids to, I don't know if it's a saying, but I've seen some people who said, kids should have animals to take care of so they could know how to be nice to living things and things like that. But when they grow up and they're doing that to human being, and you see, for instance, cops killing unarmed people, my goodness, that should concern you. Because if they could easily do that, make it okay, cop could kill anybody, what makes you think it's not going to be you one day? Just knock on wood and pray to God. None of your family, none of your loved one never experienced that. But if it happened to somebody else, you should be concerned. All right, let's go to the next tweet. Okay, so there's this here. Then and Now, Kamala, Cardi B edition, 2019. I'm probably gonna mute it, but because whatever music she's listening to, I can't play it due to copyright. All right, so they did a rally and she showed up. Okay, and there was someone I saw here who put something. That's it. This one. Let me share it with you. People mind change, and I think she lives in reality. Maybe there was something she was upset about, okay, that concerned her, but now the things become much clearer for her. November 2nd. All right, so let's listen to this one. I don't know what she said here.
Don't fucking ask me. I don't give a fuck the resume that they send. I don't give a fuck. I'm not endorsing no presidents no more. Because we could fund two wars. Motherfuckers talking about we don't got it, but we got it. Like, we're the greatest nation. No, the we're not. We're going through some shit right now. Mm-hmm. Like, say it. We're really going through, we really are right now.
This is the confusion. I could understand her. I've shared with you the confusion that these people put Biden in. This is why he had to step out, to take all the burden, the confusion. They pretty much tied his hand behind his back to confuse the people. And then guess who's part of it? The GOP. The GOP are part of it because they want power. If they were the one who's in power, I mean, they will do their thing. And then there's so many branches to that. The media is not telling everything. People who are telling what's going on in the Middle East, they create rules to not talk about these things on their platform. I've shared these things with you. Okay, they want to keep people in the dark. So I could understand people who's not looking day to day into all of this stuff. They don't see it. They do not see it. So I understand her frustration because I see the thing that's going on. She may not see all the ins and out little, I don't know everything, but some of the thing that I see going on. And I started shedding light to it. What did YouTube did? They give you a deadline by January, I think January 6th it was. Look on the screen, I'll put it. Okay, by January, if you have anything that talk about the Middle East, I don't think they say Middle East or child, any kind, I'll put it, you could read it. I don't remember exactly what it said because I see the description that they were writing were some of the thing I was highlighting. And that was some of the thing that was going on in the Middle East. So for people not to talk about these things, mainstream media literally not talking about these things. Instead, the entertainment aspect of things, Trump saying stupid things, these are the things they're putting. Meanwhile, they're destroying lives left and right. The Republicans, who is part of the government, supposed to help solve problem, instead they are part of the problem. They're creating problem. When Biden wanted to help Ukraine, funding Ukraine and all of that, okay, the Republicans said, oh, you have to fund Israel as well. This is where they tie Biden's hand, okay, because if people understand, if Russia get the whole of what's going on in Europe, which is our allies, and then he doesn't help Ukraine the way that he sees best, I don't know, then he cannot fund it. Meanwhile, the GOP wants Biden to also fund Israel. Israel doesn't need any more funding. We've been supporting Israel since their whole existence. And they have that dome, that, how do they call it? Dome to prevent bombs coming to their land and stuff like that. They have that. They didn't need our help in that. They have all the funding, all the materials that they need to defend themselves. But while Biden wanted to focus in Europe and Ukraine, the GOP said, no, in order for you to help Ukraine, you have to help Israel. And this is where he had no choice. And we need to pray for Palestinians, because they sacrifice so much for us. And then this is when Biden decided, okay, they tie my hand behind my back. People are upset with some of the decisions, some of the things he has to put his signature behind. He took it with him and said, I'm not running, let Kamala run. Because Kamala is not the president. She's the vice president. And I do hope if she become president, the GOP are playing shenanigans, she stand in front of a camera to highlight those BS so people could talk about it. Let people know what the GOP are doing to her to make her sign certain things. Because the mainstream media will not talk about it. You have the Will Lewis already put himself in a position to keep the newspaper from not talking about real issue, but instead entertainment aspect of things. So I could understand her frustration right here. But whatever Trump did to open her eyes, let the blind see. So I understand this. She sees the light now. She see the difference. These are the things I pray for sometime in my videos.
And yeah, we talking about we could fund 2 wars. That's like a nigga trying to front like, yeah, I got the money to support 2 bitches, but you really don't. Y'all talk about y'all don't make negotiation with the odds. Well, y'all need to sit the down with these people and find agreement. No, we cannot fund these wars. We can't. Keep it a bean. We can't. This is fucking crazy. And then you know what? I told myself this week, like, yo, the internet right now is too dark because celebrity drama, of course, we love it. We infuse with it. We watch it. But it's like, yo, that's little of what's really going on in the world right now.
Bingo. This is it. She's spot on. The drama you're seeing between celebrities, PDD is part of the issues as well. Because what I think the Maxwell, the Epstein was doing, in my humble opinion, this is PDD's aspect as well. I don't know. Let me not get into it. Just go watch the Law and Crime channel. They explain more of this. But I feel like they parallel. Okay? So what she's saying here, the dramas, the nonsense you're seeing between celebrities, it's nothing. This is what Bojo's sister was saying. Create entertainment for people to watch, distract people from different things. Meanwhile, they're removing the eggs from you, like I said with Angry Bird. People who watch my channel know what I've said about Angry Bird. All right, while they're partying and all of that, the bad guys were stealing their eggs. It's the same thing. That was the only way I could visualize the thing for you. I don't know if you guys have kids. If you have kids, you probably would have seen the Angry Bird. Okay, or if you are a kid at heart, you probably go watch that. Okay, while they were partying and all of that, the Angry Bird were partying. The bad guy was partying with them, but meanwhile they sent their minions, their foot soldiers, to steal their eggs. This is the same thing. The PDD aspect, partying and everything, filming people, and then when they need you to shut your mouth, don't endorse anybody, and you in deep shit yourself, okay, then they have this against you. And then they're gonna come in, Trump walks in, what he's gonna do? Guess what? Strip your rights away from you. That's the egg. Your right, your fundamental right. Strip it away from you. Okay, this is how I put one and one together, and this is why my channel is not growing. For those who are new, who saw or probably sit and listen to what I said at the beginning, this is where all of these come into play. My channel is not growing because I figure out that BS. All right, let's finish listening. I could understand her frustration. I understand it, but does she know all of the little nits and gritty of everything? But the fact that she said, what's going on with celebrities, it's minuscule. Okay, it's minor compared to the bigger issues. All right, let me move it back slightly.
Of course, we love it. We infuse with it. We watch it, but it's like, yo, that's little of what's really going on in the world right now. That's nothing compared to what's going on in the world right now. The world is in fucking shambles.
Okay, she's right. She is right. I understand her frustration 100%. But whatever click for her to go, because at the beginning of this video, she said she wasn't gonna endorse anybody. So I can understand her frustration on that. But whatever they did at Madison Square Garden to click it for her, hey, it did. We'll take that. All right, let's go to the next one. This is what Fadja was saying. He doesn't understand how these people could go on stage to dehumanize another group while you're still in the middle of election. But all I have to say, thank you, we'll take it, and thank God more people see the light. All right, because many of them were going to vote against their best interests. Next tweet.
It is a great privilege to be with all of you today.
You know, we ask for forgiveness and please come back.
As you saw me find the love and happiness that I'd hoped for all my life. all in this together. And if I may speak personally, we are all in this together. Because asking for help was one of the best decisions that I ever made. You will be continually amazed how life changes for the better.